place to promote the growth of Tigres in English through analysis, discussions, interviews, and more. Welcome to the Lautimes podcast. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Lautimes podcast. Thank you for joining us tonight on this Tuesday. It is great to be back with everybody as we kick things off here once again. Threakers in the house already. First comment of the night, less than a minute in. Thanks for joining us, friend. Welcome back. I'm Dennis. I'm the host tonight and the producer. Very happy to be joined today by my friends all across the great state of Texas, starting with our friend down in Central Texas, aka the capital of the state. In Austin, our great friend Luis, aka @Tigres_English.
What's up, Dennis? Great to be back, man.
Great to have you back. We missed you last week. Still mad at the allergies for you because they did not want you on here last week. And about 20 miles from me here in Fort Worth is Arlington. And in Arlington resides our great friend and the man behind Double L Nation, Edgar. How are you? Can you hear me?
Send some smoke signals.
Uh-oh.
What's up,
Oh, there it is.
guys? Glad
There
to
we
be
go.
with you guys this evening.
There we go. He's alive. You can hear us now, okay? Yeah? Maybe? Or are you like lagged by a minute? I have no idea. I couldn't tell you. Don't you just love technical difficulties to start the show? Woo-wee! Anyways, thanks for joining us. If you're joining us live, if you are joining us live, help us out. Let's get this out to more people. How you do that is you share the link with somebody, you repost this, retweet it if you're over on the Twitters. Yeah, do all the things, share it, like, comment, subscribe, all the things. Helps us out to get more people on here. Hang out in the chat like Threaker is. And get ready because we have a lot to get to tonight on this episode of the show. Shout out to all you listening on podcast later as well. Can't forget about you guys. If you haven't already subscribed to the show on Spotify or Apple, leave us a comment on Spotify specifically, or leave us a review on Apple and everywhere else. My friend, as I am dealing with my own difficulties here, dropping my phone, my friend, we have a lot to get to this evening. It's been a crazy week involving our Tigres. We had quite the interesting week of roller coasters, of emotions, of results. Lot to get to tonight on the show. We're gonna bring back Edgar in now. Can you hear us now?
I can hear you guys. Can you hear me?
You sound like you're in if NASA was created in the 1850s.
like he's calling from the moon.
Yeah, bro. But like on 1G data.
Great.
I mean, it's better than nothing. Oh man, it's gonna be one of those days, huh? All right, so let's get started. We're gonna start on a good note. We're gonna have a lot of different emotions, a lot of different feelings on tonight's show. Talking about some of the good and the bad and some of the ugly involving this team that we love, known as Tigres. We're gonna start with the good. We're gonna start with the best part of last week, which was last Thursday night at home against Cincinnati in leg 2 of the round of 16 of CONCACAF Champions Cup. A historic comeback after being down 3-0 in the first leg and after giving up an away goal midway through the second half. Tigres came back and was able to pull off a miracle at home at El Volcan, the second sort of miracle in a knockout scenario under Guido Pizarro. Worldwide historic comeback at that. Thank you, Threaker. And just so much to digest with that game that ended up in a 5-1 Tigres win, 5-4 on aggregate to send us into the quarterfinal of this tournament. Lou, I mean, there are so many ways we can go with this game, with just some of the goals, with the play, with the just sort of sense of urgency from the offset. Just fire away, my friend. There's a lot of things we'll get to, but I want you to kick us off in whatever you best see fit.
Just another magical night at El Volcan, man. I mean, after going down 3-0, we were doing the little watch along, and as soon as the game ended, I remember you saying, "Hey, we've had a game like this against Xolos." And like immediately that game popped into your head, and I thought, man, wouldn't that be awesome if we could somehow do it again? Because that Xolos game at home in Liguilla last year was so special, and I thought, oh man, can we do it one more time? And I just felt like, circumstances are a little different this season. Obviously, Cincy's a better team than Xolos, but with our fans, with the stadium, the way it roars certain nights, you just have to believe that there's a possibility. And I thought pre-game, I was like, if we can score 2 before halftime, we're gonna have a really good shot at this. And the lineup was perfect. I had asked pre-series, I wanted a 4-1-4-1 with a single holding mid, with Ociel Herrera on the left wing, and I finally got it for this game. And I was like, we're going to need Ozzy at his very best. We're going to need his scoring. And we got it. I mean, he had probably his best night ever with our uniform. Like, I can't think of another night like this one, because he had 2 goals and an assist. But he was just all over the place. He was giving them fits. And when we got that 2-0 lead going into halftime, you could just sense it that since he had kind of gotten crushed emotionally in a lot of ways, and I think the pressure of the stadium was getting to them a little bit. And my other requirement was we need to get 5, because I knew that somehow, some way we would give up a goal, which we did, and 5 would just secure it. And Ozzy had the 5th one. He missed that sitter. That he basically, like, right in front of goal. I couldn't believe that he sailed it, and that would have been the 5th goal, but he missed it, and I was like, well, it's just all setting up for the late winner, the last shot of the game type of moment. Like, as the game was getting closer to the 90th minute, I was thinking about that Alianza game where Nahuel scored the header on the very last play. I was like, I think we're going to get another moment like that. And sure enough, Gignac gets it and places it for Gorriaran. Gorriaran puts it in probably the only spot that it could go for a goal. And the stadium erupted. I mean, it was just phenomenal, man. There's like a clip of a kid like taking off his shirt and waving it around. I mean, it was just like Friedger said, it was kind of worldwide. It was one of those moments that kind of got attention from everybody across the globe. So really special night. I thought it was a night that we needed, and we got it. So proud of the team, proud of the boys. Yeah, that kid went viral, man. Yep.
Just amazing, man. Just amazing. Lots of comments here already. I'll throw one of them up here again. Our friend Jacob, who was at the first leg with his family a couple weeks ago, saying Gori's goal had the whole house about as loud as it could be. Man, I had to fight so hard not to scream when that goal happened. So I was driving back from insight into how crazy my life has been the last week. I was driving back with a guy that I just met earlier that day from an Irish pub. My friend got married the day after the game, but we did like a thing with all the groomsmen the night before, and so I was driving back with one of them. Literally met him that afternoon. So I was like trying to explain to him like what I was watching, like why it was important. And I didn't want to scare him to death, so I didn't scream like crazy when the goal went, and I just let up a big fist pump and called it that. But my goodness, I mean, just from the start, there was a purpose with the way that the team was going to play that you could just tell rattled Cincinnati from the get go. Credit to them. I thought in the second half they made it a lot more difficult, especially after we took the lead on aggregate once Buffalo scored his second goal. I'll give them credit. I mean, they changed some things with their system to kind of like slow us down a little bit, and they got some more possession. They started trying to counter more, and then obviously they got a great set piece goal from Denke, who poor guy. Well, not poor for us, but poor guy got mocked with the celebration by Nahuel after after we scored the winner, which I thought was hilarious.
Honestly, though, dude, that celebration is really cool. I like it.
It
The
really is, yeah.
little belly rub with the hand wave. It's
Yeah,
nice.
it
It's
was a
nice.
vibe. It was a vibe. And to be fair, I mean, if in any like other series, he probably like scores the winner, right? And he was probably the best player in that series had it not been for what we did in the second leg. So I got to give him a little bit of kudos. But you could just tell, man, like even with, you know, how deep the score was going into it, even if it was a Thursday night, so not a typical night for a game to happen at our stadium. It looked like it was full, but it wasn't fully like sold out. And with all the odds seemingly against us, and with how inconsistent the team has been, which that's going to be a big theme of this episode yet again, is how Jekyll and Hyde this team seems to be right now. All the stars just seem to align right at the right time. And even on that last goal, like Gignac at 40 years old, with the assist to kind of just set Gordy up in that right way, put it past their keeper, like you said, and probably the only spot that it could have gone in. The scenes right after, just so much emotion in those little moments because of who scored it, how we scored it, the circumstances, who gave the assist. I mean, I showed that kid for a reason. Like, we were all that kid. We were all that little boy who was just screaming his guts out. Whether we actually did it or not, that's how we at least felt like on the inside. So, what a night, man. What a night. Edgar, I'll throw it to you. Hopefully, we can hear you a little bit better. What else would you like to add as far as a big picture thought from this past Thursday, if you're there?
So, we said it before the game, in our last episode, we weren't really sure what kind of version we were going to get of some of these players, if they were going to step up or not. And even before the match, I was a little bit hesitant seeing Osiel in the starting lineup, but he definitely surprised me. He really pulled through. I agree with Lou and you guys, just best game he's ever played for our team when we needed him the most. Mad respect to him. If he can just find that in every other game he's going to start for us, we're solid. Just really, really impressed with the team. Really happy with the result. And I don't know what it was, but when Cincy scored, I knew we were going to win. And I knew it was just going to be one of those stressful, horrendous, extra time games. As soon as they scored, I knew that's where we were headed. And sure enough, that's exactly what we got.
Yeah. It was truly a sight to behold, and some of the stats and some of the way that some of these players played just make this result even all the more interesting. Some notes that I took. We scored 5 goals, right? But we only had an XG of 2.1, which tells you the quality of some of these goals were outrageous. I mean, all 5 of them in their own right were all really strong, but special shout out to Ociel second and Buffalo second, because both of those, man, were just out of
Yeah,
this
the only
world.
easy one was the first one. That
Yeah,
was the
the
only
tap in.
one that was like easy. That's probably where the bulk of the SG is
Yeah.
because Buffalo's second goal was ridiculous, bro. That is a high, like a really tough one to score. It's like a little I don't know what you call that, a scissor kick, or it was just really high quality.
Buffalo's first goal had an XG of 0.92. Ociel's first goal had an XG of 0.1. So that's both of those combined for 1 XG. Buffalo's second was 0.13. Gordy's was 0.06. And Ociel's second was 0.02.
Yeah.
Absolutely insane.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the angle, like the different angles on that Gorri goal. There wasn't a very big window. I mean, the window was tight, and he placed it right where it needed to go, and got it past the keeper. So really impressive. I mean, to be able to take it, it wasn't a perfect pass from Gignac because Gignac had to get rid of it quickly too. It's not like he could had time to make the perfect pass, and so for Gorriarán to just first time it like that, it was really impressive shot. And Ociel's obviously was amazing goal.
I got to give Gordy a ton of credit for coming in after being hurt for the last couple weeks and immediately contributing and stepping up as the way one of the captains of the team should be. Like, he deserves a ton of credit for that and providing a moment that we'll never forget, or one that we won't forget for a long time. A lot of great standouts. Obviously, Ociel, we just talked about. We just talked about Aguirre. Some other guys I want to shout out. Brunetta, I felt like was really strong throughout the game. Like, I felt like he was present and in the right spot. Even had an assist. And Chuy Garza, Mr. Consistency, like being a reliable source on both ends of the field and also having an assist as well. I wish he would have finished the game, but those are the guys I want to shout out besides the obvious ones. Ociel won man of the match in this game, and he also was named to the round of 16 best 11 for the entire Conca round because of that performance. So kudos to him. I thought it was interesting that Loroña's a good shot. I thought he had a strong game as well. It was really interesting. Um, just we didn't have. It felt like we were dominating large parts of the game, but I'm telling you that second half, since he made some adjustments, and the final possession tally ended up being 57-43. So it wasn't like a huge blowaway like it was at the beginning. I want to pick your brain a little bit on something, Lou, here in a second, but our Houston representative is here, and I'm bringing him in now. The pride of Corpus, AJ, in the house. Talk to us about that Cincy game, my friend.
Hey, that was a really good game. Really good game. Second half was, or the first 10 minutes was, that's the energy I think this team needs to play with. It kind of sucks that we're up and down in a lot of the games, but if we can keep the intensity we had the first 10 minutes of the game and just keep the gas, or the foot on the gas pedal, this team is really good. But like what Edgar said, Oziel surprised me. Didn't really think he would have that type of game, but he turned some heads. You know, we can get him to be consistent. You know, we have some answers on the left wing. I don't think he's like the guy at the left wing, but if he can hold that off to Leguia, I like our odds of winning it.
Agreed. Completely agreed. Also, great to have you join us, my friend, as well. Glad you're here. All right, Lou, I'm kicking it back to you. And AJ just kind of hit on that point. Why is it that we don't see that all the time from the team? Is there a directive from the coaching staff to kind of be more pragmatic at times? Is it the players not necessarily like taking like games and parts of the games off, but like just trying to play conservative? Like what is it? Because that's been such a theme throughout this season since January is that there are some moments where we look really freaking good and look like the team that just won the runner up in Liga MX, and then there are some weeks where we look horrific. Like, what is it that's going on, and why aren't we seeing more of what we saw on Thursday more consistently, especially domestically?
It's a combination of things you've mentioned. I think at times this squad has a tendency to want to pace itself, and I think this is something that's been going on for many years. This isn't something new. I think this is something that even the veterans in the squad have kind of, I don't want to say taught, but sort of passed on to this new generation of guys. And there's a lot of that going on. I think it's from the Tuca days where we would just sort of pace ourselves, take certain games off. Like that Querétaro game, I have no doubts that a lot of these cats were just like, you know what? I'm not going all out because we got an elimination game coming up. Like, there's no doubt in my mind that there was like a little bit of that going on. Like, hey, let's take it easy. Let's not burn ourselves out. And then you end up with those results, a tie. I think the biggest issue I'm seeing out of coaching this year is lack of consistency. I think what made Tuca really successful is that he was very consistent with his lineups. You knew by memory who the starting 11 were, and you knew by memory the 3 or 4 subs that he was going to use. And for good or for bad, sometimes we hated it. Sometimes we weren't in agreement with it. Sometimes we were like begging for other people to get minutes. But that made him successful. And I think in a lot of ways, Guido Pizarro needs to take a page out of that book. What I'm seeing a lot this season from Guido is changing formations, changing the starting 11, and I think it's hurting the product on the pitch. I was really disappointed. Like, we'll get into the Santos game later on, but you know, you saw how Flores played against Bravos. I mean, on on Sunday. Um, I think we blame Marcelo, but I think partly to blame is Pizarro, because when Marcelo was at his best, he pulled them from the starting 11. And then he started to mess around with. Sometimes he's at a 4-2-3-1. Sometimes he's had to use a 4-1-4-1. But I think if you look back on last season, I think the formations that made him most successful were the formations where Correa and Bruneta were right at the center of the pitch. And so you're starting to mess around a little bit with that, sending Correa off to the wing, and I think it hurts the product on the pitch. I think he's going to have to settle down, settle on a back line too. I think we've had way too many changes in personnel back there. The only two that have been really fixed are Garza and at this point now Loroña. But even then, Loroña and Osby had been kind of flopping back and forth. So I think as we start to get closer to Liguilla, he's gonna have to settle on a starting 11 and keep it, and then we'll go from there. But I think defensively, we've been terrible. I can't remember a season, at least in recent years, where we've been this bad defensively. And I think it's just the constant changes, the constant turnover in your starting 11. So
Which what a
hopefully,
stark
hopefully
contrast
we've
from what a stark contrast from just a season ago when we were the best
yeah.
defense in the league, and that's a huge reason why we made that run to the final, right?
And you're not going to be able to win games and series with this defense. If you can't shut down opponents when it matters, you're gonna get bounced in Liguilla, bro. And I think that needs to be the highest priority for Pizarro as we get closer to Liguilla is prioritize clean sheets. Doesn't matter if you score one, you win 1-0, or if even if you were to tie 0-0, I think you need to get the squad to a point where they are shut down defensively. You look at the top 8 teams, we're one of the worst defenses, if not the worst defense out of the top 8 teams. So you can't have that. You can't win like that.
Maybe Marco Farfan was the glue to our defense after all.
He's a really important piece. I mean,
And Romulo, of course.
and Romulu's been plagued by injuries. Honestly, everybody back there's been riddled with something or another. I mean, Joaquim had a little stretch where he was making a ton of mistakes. So there's been a lot of little bad juju going on back there since the Farfan injury. I think
Right.
since Farfan went down, things have been kind of chaotic back there.
Yep, absolutely. Speaking of Guido, AJ, I'll throw it to you. I want to lead you in with this, and then you can say what you're going to say. Edgar, bring in your thoughts on this too. Speaking of Guido, we found out, I think the day after that game against Cincinnati, that he has extended his contract until December of next year, according to our friend Vladi from TUDN. Thoughts on that, AJ, and anything you want to add to that point that Lou just made?
Let me start off with what Lou had said. I think that's the lack of depth is really showing with the squad. You're having to move. You don't have a consistent lineup because there's no depth to, move players. So it's really starting to show. Like, we can't have a set lineup based off of the depth. And last year our defense was the anchor to the team. Like you had said, Dennis, like we were the best defensive team in the league. And now we don't have that. And I think when you don't have a consistent center back pairing, you're constantly switching. Your back line's out of whack. So you don't really have that set piece. Now, if I was going to ask y'all this, would you drop Romulo back and pair him with Joaquim and have Gordy run the 8, or would you just keep Romulo at the defensive mid and then just keep swapping the center backs with Joaquim? Or do you just say Angulo and Joaquim, this is the center back pairing I'm going to ride with the rest of the season?
What's the rule currently on the foreigners? How many foreigners are allowed on the pitch at one time?
I think it's 7 or 8.
Okay. I'm just wondering why, because I do think eventually the best pairing is going to be Joaquim and Romulo as your 2 center backs. But I was thinking later, I was like, well, if you do that, then you have two Mexican fullbacks, right? And then you have Lainez as your third one. And I guess, like, you could do Ociel on the other end, on the other wing, or Flores, but I was just thinking that it might limit you a little bit depending on I couldn't remember what the number was of foreigners that were allowed on the pitch.
Right, which that will change obviously this year with Liguilla. It'll help that I think we'll have an extra. I think we can have 9 on the field when we get to Liguilla because of the World Cup stuff. Which that actually, I know this is way down the line, but I think that helps us a lot because I kind of think, because we were talking about this 4-1-4-1 for the longest time this season, thanks to you, Lou. And I feel like now that we've kind of seen enough of what he can do, and I think what he's been able to provide, especially when he drops Steve, I wonder if the way going forward is, this is assuming Angulo doesn't get called up to the World Cup, because I think he is still, I think he's a fringe call up. I don't know if he's going to make it. Let's assume he doesn't make it and he's able to stick around. I do think that maybe your best back 4 is Angulo on the left, assuming Farfan is not 100%, Joaquim, Romulo, Garza, and you have Araujo be the 6, the lone CDM. You allow Brunetta and Correa to be up in the center more together. That, I think, is the way. You're right. We probably can't do that right now, but I have to believe that that's coming sooner than later, especially since we've been able to see that Araujo has been instructed to even drop back with the center backs at times and kind of pass out of the back in the same way that Romulo can. And you just can't deny the reliability of Romulo, especially when you consider the fact that, you know, Purata has been a disaster this season. And I think you'd rather have Romulo at the back line instead of at the six, even though there's an argument, and we've talked about this, AJ, specifically, of maybe Romulo is better in the six, but having Araujo in the fold changes that a little bit. And I think we have a little bit of coverage there, I feel like.
No, but with Romulo struggling with injuries, right? Putting him in the back line, that kind of limits, like, hey, you don't have to, you're not putting wear and tear on your legs, you know?
Right.
He's
Yeah.
on the back line, you just hear you, we don't need you to press up. You're just enforcing the back line, which I think when we did see Joaquim and Romulo paired up, that was honestly the best center back pairing we had on the squad last season. But then when Angulo came, he filled the role a little bit. And then now we saw, okay, you know, Angulo can handle his own with Romulo up top. It opened up the midfield. But this year, I just, like you said, with the 4-1-4-1, I think that is what's going to happen. If we don't get Farfan back, it would be best to move Angulo to the left if he doesn't get called up. But like you said, he's a fringe call up for um, the national team. But yeah, definitely, I think I wouldn't mind seeing Romulo in the back line. He's a solid player, and I think he would create the staple that this team needs defensively. Well, Joaquim, and I think that would limit Joaquim's mistakes a little bit because he has that comfortability with Romulo back there with him.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We'll see what ends up happening down the line, but I really think we're heading that way. And the other thing too that's a little bit of a dilemma as well is that Gorriarán has been really good this season, where last year he was kind of and then he kind of peaked towards the end, where really you can tell that this team plays better when he's on the field, probably more so than in previous seasons. So that also creates a dilemma of like, okay, he's another foreigner. Who would we then have to move around? Maybe. I don't know. That's for Guido to decide. This is why we've extended him until 2027, because he is going to make these decisions. But there's a lot to ponder as we get towards the back end of the season. Like, assuming we can get these guys back healthy, like what is the best 11, especially from a defensive perspective? And we'll we'll know that sooner than later.
If
Edgar,
we end up losing Linus to the World Cup, which I know right now it's like
I doubt it.
supposedly he's not going to make it, but there is a lot of pressure from the media for him to get called up. So we'll see if Aguirre succumbs to that. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing Gorriarán playing in that slot, to be honest with you, and then
Like
just leaving
on the
Araujo.
right on the
Yeah,
right wing, yeah.
yeah.
I mean, he's played it
W-
before. He played it with
he's
Siboldi.
done okay, and with Garza pushing up so much at times, you can keep him a little tucked in and let Garza roam that wing. You know, you have some options there.
Yeah, absolutely. Edgar, throwing it to you with the news about Guido's extension. Talk to us about that and any other follow up to this discussion that we've been having over the last few minutes.
Overall, I think it's a great extension. I think it's the right amount of time. I know we've just in the past had really complicated extensions when it comes to whoever's in the manager's chair. Guido's been doing well. I think he's deserved it, especially, with that second place we got last season. I know this season hasn't been the best, but overall, this team is still a very, very strong contender for both titles, whether it be the Champions League or the Liga MX title. I'm excited for him, and I think he's still the right person for the job without question.
Absolutely. My last question regarding this Conca madness. Looking ahead to Seattle in the next round. Looking ahead to the field. Seattle versus us on one side of the bracket, along with Nashville versus America. So if we win, we would play one of those two teams. On the other side, you have Toluca playing LA Galaxy and LAFC playing Cruz Azul. Knowing what we know about the bracket, knowing that we've had better performances in some ways in Champions Cup than even in the league, is it fair to ask if we should put our eggs more in that basket, or do we keep things evenly spread and try to really fight for both, knowing that we still have, a lot to play for? And I think about this in the context of Gignac, like we want to have the most opportunities that we can to make sure he leaves on a high note. So how do we feel about Conca potentially becoming a priority, especially considering league form has been so like this?
No, I mean you can't give up on the league, bro. There's just I think we're frustrated the way this tournament's go. I mean the way the league play has gone. You know, you mentioned it, roller coaster ride, but it's gonna be such a different tournament, Liguilla. It's
Mm-hmm.
gonna be so much different than other years, and some teams are gonna get depleted. Obviously, Toluca and Cruz Azul are still the two teams to beat and the favorites to be in the final. But I think you can't give up on it. I think the goal still needs to be to try to finish around the sixth place, fifth place, if possible. Get in and then fight for it. Uh, because I think anything can happen. You know, you get let's say you get Farfan back in a couple weeks. He gets his groove back. He's back to being great. And then Bruneta, Correa, and all these guys are firing on all cylinders. Then we're gonna be in the conversation again, bro. For if we can get that back line playing in sync again, not making any mistakes, who's to say we're not going to be in a good spot to make that final again with Toluca having injuries and losing some players to the national team. You could easily sneak in there to the final and face Cruz Azul. So I think you can't give up on it. And then, just historically in Conca, we haven't been great. And if you put all your eggs into the Conca basket and then get bounced by Nashville, let's just say, because I'm fairly confident that we can beat Seattle, even though they've had our number. Let's just say it like it is. They kind of own us, but I think we have a really good shot of advancing. And now you're talking potentially Nashville, which I think Nashville might beat America.
I'll talk about them later, but yeah.
So now you're talking about facing a really tough Nashville team, and you could potentially lose there. And then now, if you didn't give the Liga priority and you didn't make, let's just say you didn't make Liguilla, that's a bad look.
Yeah. Especially in a year where top 8 makes Liga. That's it. There's no plan.
Yeah, and we're right at the
We're only 3
cutoff.
points. We're only 3 points
There's not
above.
a lot of room for not a lot of margin for error there. So we need
Yeah.
to, plus we don't have a tough schedule in Liga. I mean, what's the excuse? I mean, the only tough team we've got remaining really is Chivas.
And I feel confident about that game because I'm going to be there. I'll just leave it at that. Oh, Mark. Mark is here. And with a great question. Will our lack of youth minutes negatively affect our Liga chances? It could make Conca more realistic. Man, that is a great question, especially considering the context of the youth minutes and with what happened on Sunday. This is actually a great way to segue into what happened on Sunday night, which ended up being one of the weirder results of the season, losing 2-1 on the road against Juarez. A game marked by fluke goals, Adonai Escobedo being the worst person on earth, and Chicha Sanchez getting a red card in his first start in ages, negatively affecting our youth minutes. What a strange game in so many ways on Sunday night for all the wrong reasons. We got worse as the game went on, which, I mean, it's obviously like logical to think that when, you go down a man. But the second half specifically was really bad. AJ, you said it in the chat the other night. Worst half of football we played under Guido probably was that second half of that game. I mean, there's an argument to be made there. Which shouldn't have been a red. Yes, as we know, of course. So let's talk about that. Who wants to answer Mark's question? One and two, just overall thoughts on that frustrating game against a team that we should beat 9 times out of 10.
Sorry, I'm chewing. Bro, I told you a couple weeks ago, I said if we're not going to take these teams seriously, the Pueblas, the Querétaros, the Bravos, if our starters or our stars are not going to take these games seriously, put in all the kids. And we didn't. And we got negative results. Lost to Puebla, tied to Querétaro, lost to Bravos. And I said it because I knew our guys weren't gonna take those games seriously. With the Conca elimination games, they're focused on that, trying to save their legs. So you missed opportunities, and now as you're getting down into crunch time, now you're gonna have to put them in. Chicha got red carded, can't play the next one. So you're down to Marcelo Flores, who's lost his confidence, lost his groove because when he was at his best, you benched him for no reason. And that's why I'm a little upset with Guido, bro. I mean, you got to do a better job of knowing your squad, about managing your squad a little better. I think it's foolish. So yeah, it might. I mean, to answer Mark's question, yeah, it could affect our chances because we're getting down to crunch time, to this deadline, and we're gonna have to forcefully play with young guys when you could have done it much sooner in these games that you ended up losing anyway. You ended up dropping points anyway to them. You should have just been building up the minutes. And then you would have been done with the minutes, and now you can just focus fully. So I think we got it backwards. And it's going to be another season where at the very end we're going to be scrambling to get those minutes in. So could it hurt us? Potentially, especially because Marcelo lost his confidence. Chicha got red carded, and you just never know what you're going to get out of these young kids. So yeah, it could potentially hurt us, but I think our veterans know what's at play, and they know that they have to get into Liguilla. That's not an option to be in ninth place or 10th place. It's just unacceptable, and they know that. So I think they'll step it up. They'll find another gear. But I think it's a shame that we haven't gotten those minutes in when we could have. We had plenty of opportunities.
Our count is currently at 780. We are the team with the least amount, but we only need 400-ish left. The minimum is 1,170, and we have 780, so roughly about 400 in about 5 games. So you got to find basically 90 minutes in 5 games to figure that out. So you're gonna have to see some starts from a few guys. Like you can't just put it all on Chicha or Marcelo. Like we may see a Rafa Guerrero start. We may see a Simeone start at some point. Like
And you just fortify
yeah,
my point,
yeah,
Dennis,
I know.
because the back line's been struggling all year. They're scoring a ton on us, and now you're asking Simeone, a little 18-year-old kid, to come in and play in the back line, and Rafa Guerrero, who hasn't played in forever, play in the back line. I mean, it's a tough ask, bro.
Yeah, which makes this friendly on Saturday even more important for some of those guys to kind of get some sort of
Shameless
fitness.
transition.
No, not shameless. We're gonna get to that way later. I'm just a little bit of foreshadowing. Edgar, what was the worst part of the game to you? Chicha's red card, the second goal that we gave up, the non-red card on Angulo on the elbow, or anything else that I didn't mention.
Do you have an all of the above option by chance?
Sure, I can create one.
Yeah, no, all in all though, like I think it was just the refereeing in general was the worst aspect of the match. There was nothing positive to say there.
I'm not going to get into it because I don't want to give this guy attention, but we've said it before that there is a bad look on the league for continuing to employ this guy when every single match that he refs, no matter who is on the field, there's way more chaos than there needs to be. It's not about the referees, that is about the players on the field. And it's frustrating because a lot of those yellow cards were not yellow cards. There should have been yellow cards that should have been called. I think that red card is really questionable at best. And at the very least, the game should have been 10 on 10 because that elbow to Angulo on the head was way worse than whatever Chicha did. AJ, expand on your point on the second half being horrible and just how frustrating it was that there wasn't a sense of like clarity as to what we were trying to do, even though we were down a man and we had a halftime to try and figure that out.
Yeah, so there's going to be 3 points. To me, one with Marcelo. I just think, I mean, we're kind of seeing what Cordova did. He's more like a social media star instead of focusing on, the footy. I think if he put his mind 100% to footy, he can regain his confidence. Let the social media go. This is your job. Just focus on that. 2, the refereeing, probably. Well, I'm not gonna get into that. Terrible refereeing. And the second half, there was no sense of urgency from the guys. They really. I understand being down a man on a questionable red card, and that I think sucked the energy out. Just the refereeing, I think, sucked the energy out from the guys. At the beginning of the game, you saw the fight. You saw, they were trying to do this. But I think once they started seeing the cards coming out for any little contact, any tackle that looked dirty, they kind of like stepped back a little bit and they say, hey, we can't be as aggressive because we don't know if we're going to be shown a card or if there's going to be a foul called. But yeah, definitely the second half was kind of it looked like the team took a step back. Like I said, there was no sense of urgency from the guys. The attack, it was like literally non-existent at times. More like people were playing selfishly instead of playing as a team. But yeah, definitely this is like up there for one of the worst halves of football under Guido so far.
I felt like we weren't awful defensively in that game. In the grand scheme of things, we really weren't. I mean, both those goals were flukes, and Nahuel really didn't have a ton to do. It felt like we actually were okay on that end of the field, which is funny considering what we just talked about with the defense. That was actually a better defensive performance in the league than in some other previous weeks, and yet we lose the game 2-1 because of a wicked deflection on the second goal and then another weird one on the first one. I just didn't like that. You go into the locker room at halftime. Guido's obviously not coming back out because he gets a red card too, which is also really annoying because the Juarez coach was tripping like the whole time. I don't know why Guido ended up getting a red card in that mess as well. But you had halftime to figure something else out differently. Like we were throwing stuff out in the chat about like what we could do differently. I had mentioned like make Correa be the lone 9. I felt like Aguirre didn't make sense when you're down a man. Like I felt like you needed another midfielder. I thought it was odd that Gorriaran came in like way later than he probably should have in that second half. A lot of strange things about just the plan in the second half. Just never felt like we were going to generate really anything. And then, they get one chance off of a set piece that Marcelo, stupidly gives up, and you end up losing the point that you were going to get from that game. I don't know. I'm with you, AJ. I'm really frustrated with how that half went specifically because you had time to figure it out. It's not like the red card came in the 65th minute and you're trying to figure stuff out on the fly. You had a lot of time to adjust, and just felt like we didn't until it was too late.
All I want to say is that Adonai Escobedo reminds me of you guys ever seen The Incredibles? Syndrome.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Yes.
Sad little man, bro. No confidence. Just it's like he hates Tigres because Gignac's awesome, you know, because he wants to be like Gignac. He wants to be loved. I mean, like the fact that the league keeps putting that clown to ref our games is just unbelievable after everything he's done. El Cantante Guerrero, out of all people, came out and said basically something similar to what I'm saying is that because he lacks so much confidence, he makes a lot of crazy decisions. But I mean, it's not my fault the guy has low self-esteem, bro. I mean, why is that our problem? That the guy feels like a little person out there, and he has to go around waving his cards at everybody because he feels insecure. I mean, I'm tired of it. He ruined a pretty good game, and it's just going to Juarez is tough for us, bro. I mean, it happens every year. It's just a tough place to play at for us. I think Juarez, Tijuana is another place that's tough for us.
Ironic.
It,
Where are we going next?
yeah, it's almost like the guys don't get up for those venues, bro. It's almost like a little sleeper game. So I wasn't surprised that we played so poorly off, especially offensively. I'm with you. I think those goals were flukes. I mean, the stats kind of show it. They were at .8 and they scored two. I mean, yeah, they weren't like dominating us or anything. And then obviously that red card changed the game for us. And there was things Guido could have done. We could have played a 4-1-4, for example, and still would have been okay. We would have been able to somewhat control that game, but I think it's just one of those places where weird things happen, and we just had an unfortunate night. I think we don't, as fans, I think we need to move on. And honestly, I'm still kind of riding that Conca wave, that Cincy game, where it didn't really get me down that much to see them play so poorly.
That's fair. Edgar, were you gonna say something?
No, I mean I agree with Lou in just the fact that we're always screwed over by this guy. It's frustrating, but at the same time, we don't put in maximum effort when it comes to opponents like Juarez or Tijuana, for whatever the reason may be. I mean, I feel like pitch conditions are awful. I think that kind of is like a factor in it, but it really shouldn't be.
I will say though, we scored a sweet goal. That was a great little set piece from Bruneta to Joaquim. Just a shame that didn't lead to a positive result, but it is what it is. All right, looking at the table, Tigres is currently sitting at 7th place on 17 points, same as America, but with a slightly better goal differential. A point behind Atlas in 6th, 5 behind Pachuca, 6 behind Pumitas in 4th. I said this the other night, and I'm going to say it publicly now. I think we can hunt those teams down. I think we could end up where Pumas is at right now in 4th. If we lock in, if we can get some results, I think we can make that happen. I mean, we've already played Pachuca, but we haven't played Chivas. We haven't played Atlas yet. Like, we can get those points back. We can move up. I would like for us to finish in 4th or 5th, personally. Although I'm obviously gonna back the boys wherever we end up. But I think best case scenario would be that fourth to fifth range, and maybe hope that Pumas stays there. And I like our chances in the Liguilla against Pumas in a first round matchup, should we get to that point, obviously. But the margin for error is very thin. Monterrey and Juarez are both 3 points below that 8th spot. Necaxa and León are 4 points below. Tijuana and Puebla are 5 below. San Luis and Mazapan are 6 below. It's really tight. It is really, really tight. And these last games for Tigres in the league, road match against Tijuana next Friday on Good Friday. Home match against Chivas weekend after. The Seattle game sandwiched in between. Necaxa on the road on a Friday. Atlas on the road on a Wednesday. And then Mazapan at home on Saturday. It's doable. It's very doable. But again, the margin for error, unfortunately, because of how bipolar we've been since January, is next to none. And the boys need to do all that they can to get obviously 15 out of 15 points, but really I think we need to end up getting 12 out of 15 to feel real good about our chances.
Yeah, I think realistically, 13's probably fair. Um, and I think they'll close strong. Mazatlan's not looking easy anymore. I think early in the season we were saying, "Oh, it's going to be a cakewalk," but this new coach has them playing with confidence. So there, that could be a. Hopefully, we're not in a situation where it's a must-win, because they could potentially put us in a bind. But I think they'll finish strong, and I think they realize that they need to settle down.
Interesting.
Put the kids with the Cholos.
I don't hate that, especially with the turf.
Yeah, turf game. 10 o'clock kickoff.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. On a
Horrible.
Friday night. On a Friday night, play the kids. Yeah, I'm with 3D, bro.
Well, in Seattle, the first leg of the Seattle series is right after that.
The boys are not gonna want to play, bro.
No.
Road
No.
game that late at night. They're usually in bed by that time.
For real.
Take the under 20s, bro. Get a bunch of minutes.
Yep. Get the what is it, the max you can get in a game? 225? Let's get half of what we need in one game. Please. Please. Even more of a reason. Yep. Drieger bringing up a great point. Obviously, that's future Tigres, but that's where we're at currently. A team that has advanced to the quarterfinal of the Champions League, Champions Cup, whatever you want to call it. A team that cannot drop much points domestically, but as Lou mentioned it a long time ago, or earlier on in the episode, a team that in this format of Liguilla, and this very unique Liguilla, could have a real good chance because of how the World Cup, especially from a Mexican national team perspective, changes so much of the game for a lot of other teams, so not necessarily for us. So that's where we're at. Long way to go still, but as we enter into this FIFA break, that is the current state of the men. Now let us transition to the women, as they are coming off a great win on the road this past weekend on Sunday against not San Luis. What do we call them, Edgar?
Flan Luis.
Thank you. 2-0 on the road. Goals by our amazing Brazilian, Jennifer Coginali, and a Natalia Colin goal with a really fun celebration as well.
Golazo.
Yeah, golazo indeed. Mi Amor back on the pitch. Anika Rodriguez and starting immediately in her return. Kudos. This team getting getting good results at the right time. Let's talk about it. I didn't get to watch this game, so y'all got to fill me in. I've seen highlights, obviously, but for those of you who were able to fully see the game, give me the recap and how we are going into tomorrow's match.
Well, first of all, it was great to have Anika back. I feel like we missed her presence. We missed her leadership, her grit, her ability to clamp down defenders and push up on the attack. So, round of applause to her. Uh, Thanks for coming back, Anika. We missed you. And then I thought they controlled the game fairly well. There was moments of the game where San Luis I think was taking it to us. Several lapses in that game where San Luis looked better. I was a little bit disappointed with our lack of creating danger opportunities in the final third. I think we're falling into this trap of feeling comfortable with possession and moving the ball around at will, especially in the middle third, in our initial third, with just a lot of stale possession. I think that still continues to plague this Pedro Losa coach team. I think once we enter the final third, we just lose all our creativity, all our imagination. Um, and so it was a little bit disappointing to see. But Corginali got on the scoreboard, which I thought is a positive. Ordonez was moving very well all over the pitch, participating. So there is some positives. I think it's a good result given the fact that we were playing on the road. I think it's a tough time of day to play as well, but I think there's still a lot of room for improvement on the squad, especially when it comes to the attack. I think Pedro Losa needs to make some adjustments, and I think Desiree Monsivais was one of the commentators, and she kind of mentioned something similar to what I'm saying, that the team kind of looks flat at times, and I think it needs to be worked on. And who knows, maybe Pedro Losa will tweak some things, and as we get some of these players back healthy again, I think maybe we can start to look better. But it is a little disappointing to see that we only scored two in that game.
Edgar, anything additional to that?
No, I'm just really happy with the result overall. Lots of positives, as the Amazonas have us used to now.
Yeah, and you look up at the table with the girls, and all of a sudden, after kind of a weird start to the season, Tigres are sitting technically in second, fourth on goal differential, but technically second top points, only 3 behind the neighbors.
With a game on hand still for like with the game against Rayadas
You're right.
still.
Yep.
So potentially that could be a decisive game to close the season because I believe that's the last game of
It
the
is.
season.
And it's right
So
after a FIFA break for the girls.
so it'll be interesting to see because as you know we got America next
Yep.
and a solid win here, man, changes your season.
Absolutely. Speaking of America, let's transition to that. Tomorrow night at 8 p.m., Tigres versus Club América Femenil at home in the best stadium in Mexico. Usual spots for the broadcast, of course. Estrella, Fox, and Peacock via the Telemundo Ahorita or whatever it's called channel. America, like we just mentioned, level on points with us, but they have some sort of tiebreaker that's got them above us. That's not goal differential because we have the same goal differential as them and the same amount of goals scored and against. So maybe it's a yellow card thing or something. I don't know. In their last 5 matches, they drew to Rayadas, lost to Chivas, and then over their last 3 games, they beat León, Toluca, and Puebla. which in the grand scheme of things, that's 3 winnable games. Obviously, a big match at home, fresh off of a game on Sunday. How much rotation should we expect? What kind of lineup should we think that we'll see from Pedro? And how important is it to be on the front foot in order to get a result?
Got to put your best 11 out. I think it's a really important game. I think it's one of those games that you mark on the calendar before the season starts. America Femenil has been talking a lot of smack this season for a team that really hasn't been that great. There is some history with these two squads. Some former Tigres players that have gone to go play over there. It's a little bit of bad blood brewing, I think, which is gonna make for a really great watch. Uh, we have their number, bro. I think in a lot of ways we've kind of taken their soul, especially in the big games. So I would love to see a really strong starting 11, and hopefully we get some of that old school Tigres, man, like under Batocletti, where we just go all out, man. I don't want the type of game where it's like we're trying to keep the clean sheet and it's a 1-0 win. I want to see a high scoring. I want to see us on the attack, be aggressive. I think that's what the fans want to see. And I think Pedro needs to realize that these are the type of games the fans want you to go all out for, because there's a lot of talking back and forth between the fan bases. So I think it's an important game for us, and I think we need to put our very best out there.
Best 11 then, Edgar. I'll throw it to you, and then Lou, you can kind of make changes as you see fit. Best 11 then is what? What is the best 11 for this team based on current squad availability and form?
Great question. Do we know if Themby is back? Let's start there.
No, I don't think so.
No Themby. Okay. Wait, I think in the back, I would definitely repeat Annika. I think she had a pretty solid game. She looked comfortable overall. Good at that as well. Help me out here,
Marisa.
Lou.
Yeah, I would go Anika, Greta, Marisa, and then I would go Villalpando on the left fullback spot.
Yeah.
That's what I
Yeah.
would do. And then I would play, even though they bring a lot of numbers into the middle third, I would play with the single holding mid. So I would probably play Alexia Delgado.
Okay.
So I would go 4-1-4-1. So Alexia Delgado lone holding mid, and then the 4 ahead of her on the left wing, I would put Maria Sanchez, Emma Watson, Jennifer Corginali, Mayra Delgadillo, and then
And Diana.
Ordonez as your lone striker. I
Okay.
think that gives you enough numbers in the midfield to be able to keep America occupied. And then also, I think Mayra Delgadillo makes a lot of sacrifice, so it's a player that's going to drop down, help out. Emma Watts is going to player that will drop down, help out defensively. And then you got Alexia Delgado kind of as your shield. And I think that works out pretty good. And Greta and Marisa, I think, can be pretty good clamp down defenders. So I like that. I like that 4-1-4-1, and I think that one would probably work pretty good.
Will Pedro do it? Probably not. He's probably gonna
You
end
know
up
that
doing
little,
some
you know that little coward tried to play 5 at the back for. I still haven't forgiven him for that.
for the first
Trying
leg
to,
of the final.
yeah, he nearly blew it. I
You know,
wouldn't I
World
wouldn't
Sevens
surprise
hurt them
me.
even more.
It wouldn't surprise me if he tries to put 5 at the back with Jimena Lopez playing left wing back,
Yeah, bro.
He'll find a way to start Mayor.
trying to park the bus.
Mayor, who's hurt, crazy.
He'll find a way.
Drieger saying that Galo hasn't been good this season to me.
And I agree. And so I wouldn't be opposed, but he won't do it. But I wouldn't be opposed, for example, pulling Delgado and playing Izquierdo.
Yeah, that would be fun. I gotta look back at who the squad was on Sunday and see what were our options in that game. Did By the way, speaking of feminine, the the video that they put out today of Emma and Ev doing the the HEB challenge was pretty great. For those of you who like the social media content side of things with the team, that came out earlier today. I'm with you with Mia. I just think that she brings so much offensively. Um, is such a creative player, even at such a young age, that you just have to put her in there. What I think is going to happen is that he's going to, put Jenny Hermoso in from a experience perspective. Um, Probably have her be in the midfield if I had to guess. Um, but I would like to agree with what Lou brought up. I think that is the way it should be. But in any case, this is a game we have to win to keep our place in the standings, to keep dangling the apple over America, um, over the last few months that we've had over them with winning the final the way we did, and then obviously, as Drieger mentioned a second ago, with World Sevens. My prediction: I'm gonna say we win 3-1.
I like that. I'll second that prediction. 3-1 Tigres.
Lady D, uh, give me an Emma Watson goal and Maria.
I'm gonna go Ordonez brace and let's do Emma Watson too. I hope she gets one. Be a good game for her to get one.
I'm gonna go Ordonez hat trick, but we get the clean sheet.
Oh, okay, nice. I like that. Our friend Sean in the chat. We win everything after that last game. We're destined. I believe you're referring to the Cincinnati game. If I had to guess. Glad Lou
What's
is
up,
feeling better.
Sean? I was getting killed by the pollen, bro. Pollen and oak count was really high over here in Central Texas.
That's
But
how it be, bruh. That's how it be this time of year as we go from winter to spring. Like I said, 8 p.m. kickoff tomorrow night for Las Amazonas and America. All right, our fifth point on the agenda tonight is this weekend. It is not a traditional game weekend in some ways. As we all know, it is currently a men's FIFA break with the World Cup playoffs and last pre-World Cup friendlies happening. There is a little friendly doubleheader going down involving our Tigres and involving Club America, where both the men's and the women's teams will play against each other. Like the respective clubs will play against each other, both genders. To be played at the stadium of the Arkansas Razorbacks in Fayetteville, Arkansas, this Saturday. I know our friend Mark and our friend Jacob, they will be there. Wrong comment, sorry. So excited for the game on Saturday. I'll be going to it. We do have some people that we know that will be in attendance. I wonder if anybody else will be attending. I'm very curious to see what kind of crowd is there. I do know that there is a good Hispanic, Mexican population in Northwest Arkansas. I don't know specifically in Fayetteville, but I know there is some in Bentonville, which is a little bit up north. I have some friends up there who have told me that. And I'm sure plenty of people are going to travel for the doubleheader on Saturday naturally. So how do we feel about this? How do we feel about just priorities for both of the squads? I want us to kind of predict the lineups that we'd like to see knowing that we need to make a lot of rotation and that we need to get some of these younger cats some minutes and not try to um, overwork some of the starters and the old guard, especially with the women, having to take a little trip in the middle of domestic play to make this game happen. Like, how do we feel about just the concept of this friendly?
This is a friendly where you leave Gignac at home, you leave Correa at home, Gorriaran at home, Brunetta at home, and just take most of your youth squad. There's very little to gain from this besides maybe getting some of these younger guys some playing time. We're gonna be on the road so much coming up that it's not worth having these guys even travel, bro. I mean, I don't. I feel bad for some of our fans that are going to go see it because obviously you want to see the stars, but to me, with everything going on in league play and the competition getting stiffer and Conca, I think you have to prioritize the rest. So to me, play Paco Reyes, play Rafa Correa, play Marcelo, play Chicha. Get all the kids, get them minutes, let them play, and even some of the youth guys, call them up, let them get minutes as well. Simeone, I forget who the number 9 is for the under 20s. A lot of those kids can get minutes, and it's a good opportunity for them. But Correa, for example, is a player that's been playing so much, bro. We just can't afford to run him into the ground on a friendly.
Edgar?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it'll be difficult for any of our like starting 11 players or our regular players to be fully active. I don't expect Linus to even get minutes. Uh, Maybe Marcelo, Purata. Those are going to be you know the more well-known names. I don't even think that Wade would travel for this game, if we're being honest, though. I think you'd see Felipe and our third string keeper, whose name slips my mind, but this would probably be a great opportunity for him. But yeah, I don't think we're going to get a whole lot for either side, if we're being honest. I think for the femenil as well, you're not going to see Ordonez playing. You're not going to see Maria Sanchez playing, or at least definitely not starting.
Yeah, give me Carrera in goal for the men's game. Don't even bring out Felipao because Felipao's, not a young man in terms of football, and if your second string, you know, pulls a hammy in a friendly, that's not necessarily great in terms of squad depth. It's already thin. Uh yeah, give me Paco, give me Purata, Simeone, uh Ordonez, Francisco Ordonez, bring him out, have him just play right back if he's even available. Juan Pablo Vigon, certified friendly starter. I'm sure we'll play pretty much the whole 90 minutes.
Club
Uh,
legend.
Club legend Chicha Sanchez, because of the red card, needs to play the whole game. Marcelo Flores will not be with us, if as we know, because of his call up to the Canadian national team, which is crazy because there's a good chance that he's going to end up making the Canadian World Cup roster. Also, Buffalo Aguirre is with the Uruguayan national team, and Jesus Angulo is with the Mexican national team. So give me, I don't know, Gacelo Lopez obviously needs to probably play the whole game.
Ociel.
Ociel. Uh, I would not hate Araujo getting some minutes just because
Yeah,
the the term of, or the thing of, match fitness with him is still prevalent, because again he didn't have a ton of time after he got here to kind of get up to speed after such
Free
a long
agent for
layoff.
65 days.
Yep. So I think it'd be wise to get him some minutes to allow him to get a little bit more fit personally. But that's kind of the lineup I throw out for the men. For the woman, man, Ali Gol, Elizondo, uh, Ev probably needs to start this game. Um, Tatiana Flores, who we were just talking about. or who we're gonna talk about here in a second.
Jimena Lopez,
Jimena, bro. Anika. I
Natalia
mean,
Colin,
yeah, wouldn't be
Gevanica sometime.
yeah, just a little bit. Nothing crazy.
Mari Carmen Reyes is not ready yet, is she?
Nope. Still not ready.
Nope.
Manet. La Chata, Lou's favorite. Dillery. I had to. Sorry. Um.
Bro, next time warn me so I can turn off my camera, please.
Okay. Well, actually, I won't because I want you to have that reaction every time. Personally, it's only appropriate for the bit. Izquierdo probably should start most of this game. Uh, Belen Cruz. Steph Mayor is back. She was on the bench on Sunday. So maybe that's a way for her to get some minutes. Those are the names I want to see out on the field, personally. No Diana, no Maria, no Corginali, nothing like that. No Hermoso, nothing.
I agree.
Do we know where this game is even going to be broadcasted on?
I think VIX to the N because Club America.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they're considered the home team, so they probably would have the TV rights. What's the kickoff time on that?
I have no idea. Let me look this up. Because I think the women are first.
I could be wrong, but I think they start at 2 p.m. and the men play at 5.
That sounds right. I don't know. Early game. In the sun, bro. In the heat. Even more reason not to bring the
And
the vets.
it's a humid heat, dude, which is
Yeah,
kind of
bro.
annoying.
Fayetteville is very humid. Not very, but it just says. So how do we feel about crowd, bro? We think there'll be a big crowd for this? I mean, it's in a huge stadium. That stadium holds a lot of people because it's the
I
only
mean, they're
big
not. I
stadium
don't
in the
think they'll
town.
fill it up, but maybe the bottom rim might get semi full. I think I think it's one of those games where you can expect a 98% America fans to like 2% Tigres fans. I don't think the Tigres community in Arkansas is very big at all.
Oh, Mark with the weather report thought the forecast was mid-50s. Oh, well, bring your coats then if you're gonna be at the game. Yeah, I'm with you. I think it'll be, I don't know, about 98, 2%. I think it'll be like maybe 85, 15. I don't think it'll be that extreme, personally, but I don't
I'd
know.
argue with you, but there's gonna be no way to prove it.
Yeah, who knows?
Those yellows blend in, bro.
Yeah, bro. And they're not even gonna play in that. Yeah, like we're gonna play in that black kit. I can guarantee it. We're gonna play in the World Cup kit.
Mark's got me looking at the weather report now, bro.
Can you confirm that
Because
that
if
statement?
Arkansas's in the 50s and we're in the 80s, mid 80s, I'm gonna be jealous, bro.
I mean, it's possible, man. You know how Texas just does its own thing when it comes to the weather.
Well, I was just trying to see if maybe there was like a little bit of a cold front moving in or something. But I forget that some of these states that are a little bit north of us, they don't get as hot as we do this early on.
Nope, not at all. Not at all. Anyways, tune in for that. If we find out more about broadcast details, we will communicate all of that accordingly. Just as a reminder before we hit the spotlight moment, first leg of the Seattle series, we'll talk about Seattle way down the line, but first leg is in Monterrey, second leg is in Seattle, and I do have confirmation that that second leg will not be in that little dinky stadium that they played in against Vancouver. It'll be at Lumen Field, where they normally play. I assume there's a Seattle podcast somewhere loose, so maybe we need to start working on, some sort of collab?
There's a guy on Twitter. His name is Fabian Ranquel or Rankel. I don't know. I'm giving it a Spanish pronunciation. Ranquel.
Yeah,
He made a list of all the podcasters in MLS, which is a really cool
that
thing to
is
do.
nice. He should do that
And
for us, for our league, and it'd be us
It's just us.
it's
and
just us,
Leon.
bro. It's
And
just
Leon's
us,
part
bro.
time.
Leon is like Dennis and Friends, bro. They're just on a long
On
hiatus.
hiatus. Yeah, bro. Yes and amen. Yes, indeed. Well, there you
So
go.
I'll
You
look it
gotta.
up. I think I bookmarked that tweet, and I'll look it up and see. To be honest with you, I've never. There's certain podcasts from MLS that I keep up with. I keep up with like Cincy Soccer Talk and some of the Austin FC guys and Inter Miami. Those I keep up, or in the LA Galaxy too. So I haven't kind of kept up with anything from Seattle, but I'll look into it and see what I come up with.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully, we can do some sort of
Are you
crossover.
traveling to Seattle?
No, bro. Wednesdays. I was really hoping we would get the Tuesdays, but the fact that it's on Wednesdays just makes it really tough for me to get off work. So,
Kills the week too. It's kind of tough to.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm really hoping, really hoping that we obviously advance just because I want us to advance, but really hoping we get Nashville in the semifinal because
I
that's a lot easier of a trip.
I think Nashville's gonna advance against America. They look really tough, bro. They're honestly they would give us fits if we had to play them.
I sat second, third row in that stadium on Saturday, so I got a real close up look at how they play, and I could agree with that, man. There's something different about them this year. They got some reinforcements that have been really impressive, specifically Christian Espinosa, a guy who we've dealt with along the way when he was in San Jose, played against him in a Leagues Cup game in 2023, I believe, or 24. Um, yeah, 2023. It's a guy that has been such a huge difference maker for them. They have a good coaching system or coaching staff, and they have a good system because of that coaching. And vibes are just really good for them right now. They're catching America at a great time, even though they're going to end up having to play that second leg in Mexico City. So I'm with you. I think they're going to move on. And again, that is a much easier trip to Nashville than it is to Seattle for various reasons. And I will be determined to make my appearance back at Geodis Park should that happen. Um, Shout out, by the way, people in Nashville. I was wearing my home kit for this year at the game on Saturday, and I had so many people come up to me like, "Yeah, congrats on beating Cincy. We hate Cincy, dude. That game was awesome. Like, what a great comeback. Hope to see you in the semifinals." Like, got just a lot of great like comments from people like just walking around the stadium. I met a guy who is a Tigres fan, like is Mexican but is born and raised in Nashville. Hopefully he's watching tonight. Um, and he said he picked Tigres when he was 3 years old because he liked the jersey of Tigres, and that's the only reason why he's a fan. And he's been following ever since. And yeah, just had a lot of cool interactions with that on Saturday. So for that alone, but also because of the matchup and just preference, I really hope we get Nashville in a semifinal. That'd be really awesome.
Agreed.
And they beat Miami, which is impressive because everybody was like, Miami's going to cakewalk. Nope. Se van. This is what happens when you play Verterame on your team. Everything just goes to crap.
Bro, go back and watch some of the Battered Herons podcast on Berterame after they got eliminated from Nashville.
Oh, man. Okay.
Bro, they were like they are completely regretting that hire.
I mean, can't say I'm surprised
They
in
should
the
have reached
slightest.
out to us for a second opinion.
Right. Oh man, Edgar, talk us through these spotlight moments that we have written out as we land the plane on tonight's episode.
That's right. So one of the main ones, one of the biggest ones, Tatiana Flores is looking to be elsewhere other than the Amazonas for next season. Allegedly, she has talked to her management agency, aka mommy and daddy, and she's looking for another team.
Can't say I was surprised. I would assume both of the Florida siblings should be looking for other teams because I don't think I would want Marcelo to come back next season either at this point, even though he is getting some playing time.
I think it's for the best. I think they're at a team where competition's just too stiff, and you're battling against proven veterans, and it's really hard to knock them off their starting role, and it's really hard to even rip minutes away from them, um, especially in the positions they play, which is the winger position. It's really tough. I mean, they're not going to get a fair shot at Tigres. I mean, I'm talking to both of them, but specifically Tatiana in this case, since we're referring to her. I think she's just too far down on the depth chart to be able to get any meaningful minutes that are going to help her development and her career. So I think she's in a position where this long off season coming up will allow her to kind of look at some teams. I think there's teams that would love to have her, like Pumas, for example, where her sister plays at, would be a good spot for her. I mean, there's several teams in the league where she could easily play and start and get plenty of minutes without having to be third in the depth chart. So I think obviously she's a little bitter probably, but I think it's a good move for her. I think it's important for her career and at Tigres, I mean, it's not a player that if we lose her, we're going to be struggling, right? We have plenty of people that can play at that position. You got Delgadillo, you got Tembi, you got Belen Cruz. Way too many players there, and you're basically the fourth one down. So I think it's a good move on her part.
Agreed. I have no other comment because Lou wrapped it up real well, but also what else is there to say? Like she doesn't have a spot with the team. Unfortunately, it's too competitive. Edgar,
Yeah, I mean, I think she is a player with a lot of potential, but I don't think Tigres is the right fit for her, and I don't think she's the right fit for Tigres. I think it to thrive as a youth player, you have to have a lot of patience and respectfully, I don't think she has it. I think maybe she sees how Marcelo got more regular minutes faster than she did, or I don't know. I think she just lacks the patience.
agreed. Next up on our spotlight moment, is not necessarily Tigres related. It's just like general footy. Those of you who have been dreaming of a potential successor to Gignac being another certain French player, uh, Antoine Griezmann. Uh, Sorry to break it to you, but that dream is gone, as he has joined Orlando City in MLS as of today officially, and he will join them in July. But maybe now we focus our attention. He says emotionally. Maybe we focus our attention towards bringing in Mohamed Salah since he will be a free agent in the summer.
We have
As of
80, 90 million sitting around, Dennis.
yeah, to pay for his salary, maybe. Come on,
Check under the
Simex.
couch, bro, real quick.
Yeah, yeah.
Under the
I
couch cushions.
I have 80 to 90 pesos that I could give to him in about 3 weeks when I go down there.
I got $20.
Uh, that just makes me sad. Okay, no, but seriously, on a Tigres adjacent / Monterrey adjacent note, I sent this to you guys earlier today, and maybe some of you have seen it. But John Arnold, who reports on many things involving CONCACAF and Liga MX and just soccer football in the region, is doing a video series about the stadiums in Mexico that are hosting World Cup games this summer. And today he posted his Monterrey video. I sent it to you guys earlier today. I know Edgar watched it. I watched it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought he did a good job making that and calling out some good spots of where to go eat and where to go hang out and get a drink and all this good stuff. And I think everybody should watch that, especially if you've never had the privilege of checking out Monterrey IRL, right, Edgar?
Yeah, absolutely. It was a really, really good video. I was pleasantly surprised when I saw like how much detail he put into the culture that is Monterrey, the food, talking about both Tigres and Rayados, and giving his unbiased opinion. I think it was really, really good, really well done. If you haven't had a chance to see it, go watch it. It's worth it. Highly recommend.
Lou, did you catch it yet?
No, I'd say more, but that's that's the only comment I'll make.
I can't stand you. The smirk after you said no just gave it away. Ay, ay, ay. And speaking of Monterrey, Monterrey is hosting 2 games this week in the FIFA Intercontinental Playoffs. So if you're wondering, why are there people from Bolivia and Suriname and Iraq in our city? That's why. Bolivia and Suriname play on Thursday. The winner of that plays Iraq on Tuesday. The winner of that makes the World Cup. I I'm putting my money on Bolivia because Bolivia had a good qualifying campaign in South America. So I'm gonna put my monopoly money towards them getting that spot. I don't know if you'll have an opinion as well, but that's just what I think.
Yeah,
Shout out Percy
Conmebol.
Colque.
What'd you say?
I said shout out Percy Colque, the only Bolivian player that's ever played at Tigres.
Yeah. Edgar, what were you saying?
Awesome. Yeah, I think Conmebol has the edge here, so I agree with you.
Rapid fire, real quick, before we get out of here. Speaking of those FIFA playoffs, give me y'all's winners for the rest of it. So the other intercontinental playoff is New Caledonia and Jamaica, and the winner of that game in Guadalajara will play the Congo.
I think
I gotta go
Jamaica's got that in the
Jamaica.
bag.
Yeah, Jamaica too. That's what I'm feeling. Now the funny ones, the UEFA playoffs. So I gotta pull this up. I need this in bracket form. There's 4 UEFA spots still up for grabs, between 16 teams. So let's look through that right now. First up, the group of 4 that will end up playing in Monterrey in the same group as Tunisia and some other people is Ukraine, Sweden, Poland, and Albania. Of those 4, who do we put our fake money on?
Sweden and Poland.
Yep.
If Sweden had Dejan Kulusevski and Alexander Isak, I think they would get it pretty handily. But because they don't, unfortunately, I have to say Poland. The second one, Italy, Northern Ireland, Wales, and Bosnia and Herzegovina. If Italy doesn't make the World Cup, that country might burn to the ground.
I have a 5-hour long rant about why Italy will not be making the World Cup because their coach is a moron.
This guy's a Serie A enjoyer. That's how you know.
Yeah, and look, I'm an AC Milan fan. Gattuso, we're supposed to respect and love the man, but he's an idiot. Not a good coach at all.
So who you got then, if not Italy?
What are my other options?
Wales, Northern Ireland, and Bosnia Herzegovina.
Oh, Wales.
Lou?
Yeah, I'm gonna go Wales too, bro. I want Italy to go in because I think it's important to have Italy, but I'm gonna go with Wales.
I'm going to say Italy. I think they're the best of the four. Northern Ireland is missing a few guys. Wales is flaky, and Bosnia's just not that good. Pass C. This group of four ends up going into the group with the U.S. Kosovo, Romania, Slovakia, and Turkey. Or Turkey.
Turkey.
I think there's one clear winner, and it's Turkey.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it has to be Turkey.
Romania, maybe. The last one, I think the best one. Denmark, Czech Republic, Ireland, regular Ireland, and North Macedonia.
Part
Norway.
of me will
No, not Norway's already in. North Macedonia.
No. What was the first one you said?
Denmark.
Denmark. I meant Denmark.
Okay. Edgar?
Yeah, I was about to say, part of me wants to say Denmark.
My pick is Ireland. I'm riding
I
the
hope
luck.
you're right. I hope you're right.
He got a good goalie. I would know because he was the former number 2 of my favorite Prem team. Quivine Kelleher. Drieger saying Denmark. Denmark's interesting. Like they should be as good as they've been the last few years, but they've kind of got an older squad. So I have some doubts about them, which is why I didn't pick them. So anyway, those are the 4 spots up for grabs with Europe, and then those other 2 up for grabs as well. Those tickets for those games in Monterrey and Guadalajara are really cheap. I think they're like $10 or $15, something like that, for the whole stadium, which is
Not
great.
bad.
It's the way it should be. It's what the World Cup ticket should have been, not
Yep.
$140 for a not super desirable group game.
Or 800.
That too, or 15 million for the final, basically. Whatever. We've already aired our grievances enough about that today, or just in general. Anything else that we're missing before we get out of here?
Think that
we're
just
good.
about wraps everything.
Excelente. Well, I'm bummed AJ had to drop out after such short little time, but I'm glad Edgar, you were good after the start that you had, technical difficulty wise. Glad that all got cleared up. Lou, great to have you back after your hiatus last week. Speaking of Hook 'em, Sweet 16, love that for
Let's
both
get it, baby.
both men's and women's. I'm pulling for the women to win the natty, bro. I think they could do it. Anyway, this is a footy podcast. Although it is baseball week this week as well. So Dodgers 3-peat, Lou.
Absolutely, man. They only got stronger, so I think they're poised.
Drieger saying go Cougs. Yeah, Houston playing at home.
Houston blew out AJ's team, the
Yeah.
Aggies.
Yep, as they should have. All right, that's it for us tonight on the show. We appreciate you guys joining us live here on lautimes. We'll be back next Tuesday, as we always do, to recap, hopefully, an Amazonas win tomorrow. Recap the friendly, and we'll look ahead to the home stretch of the season for both teams. We'll see what happens. Rumor wise, hopefully we get some guys back and we have a lot more positive things to talk about next week. And it's not so much of a roller coaster. We just continue riding on a high. So, as always, check out all of our social media handles, whether it's us individually or our pages. You can look at the screen, you can look at the show notes, episode description, all that good stuff. Like, share, comment, subscribe, follow, retweet, repost, text your abuela and your abuelo, all the things. We appreciate you guys joining us. If you want to be a part of the show in any way, hit us up, let us know, contact us. We'd love to get new people involved. And that's it. Y'all be good. Stay good out there. Stay warm or cold, depending on where you are in this spring here in 2026. And I appreciate you, Lou and Edgar, for joining me tonight. We'll see you guys next week. Arriba la U. Goodbye.
Peace.